The moment she picked up the pen, the room felt too loud and too quiet at the same time. Laughter bounced off the walls, glasses clinked, Christmas music played softly in the background, and yet all she could hear was the pounding of her own heart. Red and gold decorations shimmered under warm lights, but tears blurred everything into streaks. At the center of the living room, surrounded by family, friends, and a tree heavy with ornaments, she signed the divorce papers with shaking hands. No one noticed how her fingers trembled, how her breath caught in her chest. To them, she was just another woman losing a marriage at a Christmas party. No one knew she was a billionaire's daughter. No one knew the strength it had taken her to get to this moment. And no one could imagine how this night would change every life in that house forever. Her name was Amelia Hart, and for 3 years she had lived in that house believing love was enough to erase the past she had run from. The house wasn't grand, just warm and lived in, filled with family photos, mismatched furniture, and the kind of comfort money couldn't buy. She had chosen it deliberately. After growing up behind gates and guards, in mansions so large they echoed with loneliness, Amelia had wanted a simple life. She wanted dinners around one table, arguments that ended in laughter, holidays that felt real. That dream had led her to Daniel. Daniel had been charming in the beginning, the kind of man who spoke about loyalty and family as if they were sacred words. He lived in that house with his parents, his younger sister, and his longtime girlfriend turned wife, Amelia. From the outside, they looked like a complete, happy family. His mother adored Amelia, his father respected her quiet manners, and his sister treated her like an older sibling. Amelia tried to be everything they needed. She cooked, she listened, she smiled even when her heart ached. She hid her true identity because she wanted to be loved for who she was, not for the fortune attached to her last name. But love slowly turned into control. Daniel didn't hit her, he didn't need to. His words were sharp enough. He questioned where she went, who she spoke to, why she didn't need his money. He mocked her independence, calling it arrogance. At family gatherings, he joked at her expense, and when she tried to speak up, he dismissed her as emotional. Amelia told herself it was stress, that marriage required patience. She remembered her mother's voice from years ago, telling her that dignity was worth more than comfort. Still, she stayed. She believed Christmas might soften him, that family might remind him of who he used to be. That Christmas party was meant to be a fresh start. The house smelled of cinnamon and pine, and snow fell gently outside the windows. Everyone gathered in the living room, exchanging gifts and stories. Amelia wore a simple dress, her hair pulled back, her eyes tired but hopeful. Daniel, however, had already made up his mind. In front of everyone, with a forced smile, he placed the divorce papers on the coffee table as if they were just another document. He said it wasn't working, that Amelia wasn't the woman he needed, that she was too distant, too proud. The room went silent. His mother gasped, his sister stared at the floor, and Amelia felt her world tilt. She asked him quietly if they could talk in private, but he refused. He wanted it done. He wanted control, even in the ending. Amelia looked around the room at the family she had grown to love. She didn't want to fight. She didn't want drama. She simply wanted peace. So she sat down, took the pen, and signed. Tears slipped down her cheeks and dropped onto the paper, smudging the ink. No one noticed how calmly she handed the papers back, how softly she said she wished them well, how gently she thanked Daniel's parents for treating her like a daughter. When she stood to leave, Daniel's sister finally looked up and whispered her name, but Amelia only smiled sadly. She picked up her small handbag, everything she had chosen to keep of that life, and walked to the door. Just as her hand touched the knob, a sound cut through the room. The deep hum of engines. Headlights flooded the driveway, lighting up the snow like daylight. One by one, sleek black cars pulled up in front of the house, their doors opening in perfect unison. The room erupted into confusion. Daniel frowned, irritation flashing across his face. Before anyone could speak, the front door opened behind Amelia, and a tall man in a tailored coat stepped inside. His presence commanded attention without effort. Behind him followed several others, men and women dressed elegantly, their expressions respectful. The man looked at Amelia, his eyes softening instantly, and said, "It's time to go home, sweetheart." Gasps filled the room. Amelia turned, her tears finally spilling freely, and nodded. "Thank you, Father." The realization hit like a wave. Daniel's mother's hand flew to her mouth. His father stood frozen. Daniel himself went pale, his confidence draining away. The man was Victor Hart, one of the most powerful billionaires in the country, known for his influence, his integrity, and his fiercely private family. Amelia had been his only child, the heiress everyone speculated about but rarely saw. Victor looked around the room, his gaze calm but piercing. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. He spoke about respect, about love, about how true wealth was measured by how you treated those who trusted you with their hearts. He said his daughter had chosen simplicity because she believed in family, and that belief had been betrayed. He wished them peace, but he also made it clear that Amelia would never again be diminished by anyone. As Amelia stepped outside, wrapped in her father's coat, the snow felt colder and cleaner. For the first time in years, her chest felt light. She wasn't leaving in shame. She was leaving in truth. Months later, that same house felt different. Daniel struggled with the weight of his choices, realizing too late that he had lost someone extraordinary. His family learned a painful lesson about assumptions and silence. Amelia, meanwhile, rebuilt her life not in a mansion, but in a home filled with honesty. She used her resources to support women who felt trapped, reminding them that strength often looks like walking away. On the next Christmas, Amelia stood in a living room once again filled with family, laughter, and warmth. Her father sat nearby, smiling proudly, and the people around her loved her not for her wealth, but for her heart. She raised her glass and spoke softly about endings that become beginnings, about tears that water growth, and about knowing your worth even when the world tries to forget it. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do isn't staying and enduring the pain. Sometimes, it's signing your name through tears, standing up, and walking toward the life you deserve.